What's up? This is Rebel Radio.
What up? What up? This is DJ Newmark.
This is Peanut Butter Wolf.
It's your boy. It's okay.
Keep checking out Rebel Radio.
Rebel Radio.
This is Rebel Radio.
We're in the place right here. Rebel Radio is going down.
Would you say Rebel Radio?
Oh, wait. Let's do it again.
Rebel Radio.
I know my throat sounds a little raspy today. Bear with me. It's only in the intro. It's not in the interview. The interview sounds good. What's up, Rebels? Welcome back to Rebel Radio, the weekly show where I bring you the rebels who are shaping our culture. We talk about how they do it, why they do it, and what you can do to get a little piece of the pie for yourself. We're also the only show to bring you new music every week from our friends over at EDM.com. I'm Josh Levine. With me in studio is DJ B-Hen. I really like this dude's whole get down. He's a great DJ. He's a philanthropist. He's a party promoter. He's got some great stories and a really great sense of his own brand and his whole presentation and kind of why he does what he does and how he's going about it. Some great lessons and great conversation. I think you're going to enjoy it. Let's get into that right after the EDM.com track of the week.
It's not safe to come and get that selling trap is by the bundle. I know trials and convictions, that's the lion of the system. If he lying, then we get him selling classics like a smoke. But this is business, know you feel this. I captain and know I witness this.
Yeah, that was last verse with Semper, the EDM.com track of the week. If you like that one, get over to EDM.com, check out more new music. And right now, let's get into the interview with DJ B-Hen.
Sound good. Next holiday week is a lot going on.
Oh, it's still grind time for us. So.
That's right. That's right. Well, let's get into it, man.
Sure.
I know you got a lot of interesting stories to share. I'll like start us at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the first record you ever bought?
Not the first record I ever bought. I think it was a tape that was bought for me.
Okay.
Janet Jackson's Control.
Uh-huh.
And I remember so distinctly because it was a cassette tape. And I got so upset. I was like the most evil little 4-year-old you could ever see because somehow my dad popped a cassette tape.
Is that right?
And I was just so pissed.
Yeah.
Because I loved that project.
Yeah.
And so that was the first, I guess, record, album, cassette that I can remember.
Such a great record.
I think where I first, people always ask like the hip hop question, where I first fell in love with hip hop, Outkast, ATLians.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I still play Wheels of Steel and different things from that album, that project, and some of my sets.
How somebody played it for you, or how'd you just?
Yeah, funny enough, I was in Virginia visiting my country cousins.
Okay.
And they were playing the album nonstop.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what is this? And I thought, I didn't get on Outkast until their second project, but just something about the lyricism of 3 Stacks. He's still my favorite artist, period.
Yeah.
It's
funny. I mean, I remember the first time hearing Southern Playalistic, and it was just like, I just felt like I couldn't get enough of that.
Word.
Yeah. And just, not knowing, obviously you don't know what they're going to go on to become, but just from day one, there's just something special about them.
I don't think they even knew what they were going to go on to become.
Definitely not. Definitely not. And so, how'd you get started DJing?
DJing, interestingly enough, I've loved music my whole life.
Okay.
That's the cliche answer that everybody says.
You grew up playing music or
no,
involved?
I was a military brat, so we moved around so much. Like I had the
Okay.
desire to want to be like in marching band and do different things.
Yeah.
Which I realized like I was less interested in playing an instrument and more interested in being a drum major, just so I can dance on the field and
For sure.
just lead the band.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, that's what I do now as a professional DJ. I'm leading the crowd.
Right.
But as it relates to becoming a professional DJ, it was actually a process of elimination.
Okay.
I did so many other things, was blessed to do so many other things prior to finally realizing that you can't honor the gifts that you've been given if you spend 10 to 12 hours a day doing a job that makes you miserable.
So take us through some of those things that you tried and weren't for you.
I worked on Capitol Hill.
Okay.
I was a congressional page
Damn.
under Elijah Cummings, who recently passed away, 7th District of Baltimore. Amazing, amazing man. It's a program where you basically learn the legislative and policy making procedures of our nation by actually working on the House floor. Went to school in the Library of Congress for a semester. Intern all types of places, insurance and MetLife and hotel services and just a host of things. But I landed a position doing some back-end operations for an investment bank. Okay. And I hated it. I was an economics major in undergrad, so that was the traditional path to go along. And I told him, I didn't want to do it, left and took on a position in telecom just to work my way up to doing an entertainment and marketing sponsorships role. Okay. But before you get there, you have to work in a call center for a year, having people call you everything but a child of God, cussing you out about their services. But they say, hey, you don't know how to market a product until you know how to sell it, so we were on managing the sales. Okay. But, eventually I realized, no, I don't love when I got to that post of being able to, on a marketing and sponsorship side, we would partner with Jonas Brothers and Taylor Swift and NASCAR and Lakers. But I realized that was great, but I didn't love music for its ability to sell a product. I loved it for the feeling, and so I was on a path to go to business school. I had done a summer program at Harvard Business School. Nice. I'd done a 9-month program at UCLA Anderson. Okay. And so I was doing all these programs to prepare me to be the top business school candidate. Yeah. And there was this program called MLT, Management Leadership for Tomorrow, and it focuses on adding diversity to the B School platform. And they kept, every meeting I would go to was talking about being introspective. And so I let a few deadlines pass by, and I really took that time to dig in. I realized that it's just music. Why take an indirect path to what it is that I really want to do? So while all that was happening, what was your relationship to music? Were you... Man, just at school and then going out to the clubs at night, or you? It was. I mean, from college, I was the guy always doing these 50-track mixtapes on Cool Edit Pro. Yeah. And then anytime somebody was doing some type of performance on campus, I'd be the guy they were hitting up to edit the music and put an explosion here, and make this song sound this way, da da da. So you're making music, just not as a career. Right. But then also, of course, the natural thing, hitting the parties, hitting the clubs, streaming music from across the world. But it felt like a fantasy more than an actual possibility, Sure. I know you spent some time in London. How did that influence your musical journey? It influences the journey even still to this day. We have, as DJs now, we all have access to similar music from record pools and MP3s. But, what I find that oftentimes DJing in the States or in DJing major cities, there can be a certain monotonous sound. It's all hip hop. Or a few years ago, it was EDM or the hip hop version, the EDM version of a hip hop song. Right. But when I'm really looking to differentiate what I play and how I play, I always look overseas and see what's popping, or just listen to things that really speak to me. Okay. And so I listen to a lot of BBC One Extra, the radio shows that come on that station. And what I love about the UK is more so than a New York or the States, London is such a hub for diversity. Yeah. And I think because Britain is a smaller country as a whole, that the appreciation for other cultures is immediately in your face. It's just so pronounced. Sure. And so that spills over into how people consume and listen to music as well. It's not like I'm going to a club where this is just one genre. There's just so many genres and subgenres that are all hitting you all at one time. And so that's how the music flows in the radio stations as well. And so that's why I'm kind of uniquely inspired. Even all things as relates to soul and R&B, to me, comes from the UK right now. Is that right? Yeah. Give me an example. I mean, and I'm not even sure she's actually from the UK, but Snow Allegra. You know what I mean? Yeah. I love her sound. I love her vibe. Just vibes. You know what I mean? I mean, it's interesting. Obviously, it's been happening for 50 years, more than that, from the jazz days, right? Where music is where we create an idea out of the U.S. And then the UK picks it up and kind of feeds it back to us. Right, and that's happened. Happened with rock and roll. It happened with soul. It's happened. But I'm always amazed when I go over there and find these artists that are
I just heard one the other day. Now I'm going to forget the names, which is great radio.
Trust me, Georgia Smith, M&EK, Disclosure, like it's just such a...
But I'm always amazed when you hear of these artists that are massive over there and we've never even heard of them here. And it's crazy.
I mean, I think because even to the point I was making earlier, we just tend to focus on just what's immediately promoted to us,
Sure.
Via radio or just what's easily accessible. But I think it really takes a true music connoisseur to kind of step out of your comfort zone of what's immediately available to kind of dig.
Yeah.
So that's what that kind of represents for me, like just digging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so take us back. I get it. You're doing marketing, you're learning investment banking, all this. Sounds like interesting learning opportunities, I would imagine.
Tons.
Take us to that decision then to go make music the thing.
I was on a trip with some friends on New Year's Eve, and I was deeply immersed into an autobiography of Quincy Jones. And I was just so, enamored in the fact that this man has been with music his whole life, and just how he transitioned from Count Basie's band and working with Frank Sinatra and doing symphonies to producing Off the Wall for Michael Jackson to ultimately doing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like he had his hands in so many different aspects of musical culture, the Wiz, and it was just like he kept taking steps. He'd find failure in one place, but he wouldn't ever allow that to stop him. Like his energy was so just magnetic, and he's just such a sponge and he's such a loving person. Even to this day, if you've ever met Quincy, he's just like, you feel like it's like your uncle who's known you your whole life.
Right.
And so I was just heavily inspired by that. But then also, I keenly believe that we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And the thought process that I couldn't make music transition from a passion to a profession was just rooted in being too logical. So I tapped into my spiritual base. I started practicing Buddhism.
Okay.
I learned that I'm the cause and not the effect of everything that transpires in my life.
Yeah.
Heavily inspired by
How did that
come about?
find you? Yeah.
When I was a kid, I saw What's Love Got to Do with It, Tina Turner.
Okay.
She's getting her ass kicked by Ike. And at a point she realized I'm choosing this abuse. I'm choosing to view myself as less than or incapable or, she didn't see herself as someone who had this massive gift. She was so attached to this desire for love. And so when they got divorced, she's like, all I want is my name. And it took her 8 years from her being divorced and to the point where she began to rise again. Yeah. But that's kind of what it's like. Like you have to, the practice allowed me to see myself a lot more clearly. If I could make a good living doing something that I didn't love, imagine the living I could make by doing something I love, by honoring who I am first, honoring who I've been created to be. And I learned through that process that when you focus on creating value for others, the universe always responds in kind. And so I just took a leap. I said, F it. I'm going to bet on myself and bet on the gifts that I have.
Yeah.
And I said, if it doesn't work in a year, I'll go back to school.
Yeah.
That never happened.
How long ago was that?
Next year will be 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of crazy. Time is flying.
And is it, do you practice Nichiren Buddhism, the same as Tina?
Nichiren Buddhism, SDI.
Okay.
Yeah, I practiced for a long time. I'm not completely constricted to one form of spiritual enlightenment at this point.
Okay.
But the roots of that practice are so firmly within me. And funny enough, I met Herbie Hancock. Herbie at a Buddhist.
Yeah, he's a Buddhist as well.
Yeah, it was like an early Buddhist session. I'm like, I don't even get up at this hour, but it was like 7:30 in the morning. We're in there chanting, and at the end, I talked to him and asked him how, particularly in your era, where I'm sure people really were discouraging you against being a musician. He briefly explained he was just like, he's like an electrical engineering major in Iowa somewhere, failing out of all his classes because he had put so much attention into music, and had to get like A's on his exams just to net out with like a C in the course. And he said, if you're really authentic in what you say you want to do, take lessons. Every great musician takes lessons. So that day I went and signed up for Scratch Academy.
Nice.
DJ school in West LA.
Yeah.
Changed everything.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So tell me about that. I mean, those guys are friends of ours. We've had Hop on the show, Revolution.
Chalk, the whole fam.
That's family for
us.
us.
And even Chalk now is broken off and he has Beat Junkie DJ school,
That's
right. He's been a beat junkie for like 30 years. Yeah. It's such a amazing environment. You know, every time I hear new DJs coming up now, they like the energy that's being emitted during a performance, and they want to run up and say, hey, you know, can you teach me? I'm da 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 da. I go back to the same advice I was given. If you're serious, take lessons, but you need to take lessons from people who are dedicated professionals. You know, someone who's a DJ who's very, you know, successful in his or her career and traveling a lot, they won't have the consistency or the time to really give you that energy. But whereas at Scratch Academy, you have courses that are teaching you, you know, beat matching, beat juggling, you know, understanding the 5 points of a song, understanding, you know, how to blend songs, understanding, you know, different genres, creating a lounge set, creating a club set, creating a set that's a subgenre of a subgenre, putting you in environments where you literally had tests for us that, like, we were in the dark room, and this is before all the cell phones had lights. Right. Damn, I'm sounding old. And there was. Right,
I'm gonna tell you about before we had cell phones.
Yeah,
so make you feel young again.
No, but they'd be like, okay, put you in a room with a few elements of the equipment missing, figure it out. Because this is what it's going to like when you go to a nightclub. Sure, you gave them your rider. For sure. But whoever's managing this equipment doesn't know what the hell they're doing. But as a DJ, no one cares about who's behind the scene. They're looking at you. You are, for the layman person who's in the audience, they don't know anything about a sound tech. They don't know anything. It's just, is this DJ able to make it work? And in spite of the equipment possibly being trash, you still have to give a performance that's going to make someone go away happier than when they came. And so that's the basis of which I learned so many great things at Scratch Academy.
So how does that, you know, DJing is one of those things that, you know, when I was a kid, you know, it was kind of handed down from one to another. There was no school for DJing, and you know, most people didn't have access to turntables. But you know, everybody in my generation who learned to DJ, it was like some cat on the block or at school or whatever kind of just put them up on it. And they just learned whatever that person knew, and some of them took it further and some didn't. So how does it change, do you think, the art form when there is this, you know, it goes from that more of like an oral tradition to being more of a structured education?
I think it's enhanced. I think it's a combination of both, because you still have those who are can be orators in the space, if you will, to give you that tradition and the history of the craft. But then it also teaches you how to convert it from just a passion into a profession. And that's oftentimes what's missing when you just learn from the guy on the block, because depending on that person's aspirations, it may kind of curtail your aspirations. Because that person is accustomed to only doing the block parties or only doing what's local, you may not see it in its greatest capacity in comparison to when you're in an environment with people who specialize in different genres, who've had different career paths, who've just kind of run the gamut of the DJ space. You get exposure to so many different possibilities. And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff people just hadn't thought of until somebody went out and did it.
Yeah, and so a lot of the things that I aspired toward and then been blessed to achieve, I saw other DJs doing it first, you know, and so I just had to. I think we can only do that which we see. Yeah. And from that we kind of build on top.
Sure. So you seem, I mean, even in the short conversation, like you seem to have a very clear vision and a clear sort of definition of who you are. And so tell me about that. Tell me about what is the vision and how did that come about?
Wow. The vision has always been, as aforementioned, to use the gift as a means to create value for others. Okay. I realized the gift is not my own. In any moment where I begin to make it about me, it will be taken away. Yeah. You know, and I think that's oftentimes.
Have you bumped into that?
Oh, hell yeah. The moments when things were going really well, and they're still going really well, but you can hit a moment where things are going really well and you get a little ahead of yourself, you get a little full of yourself, or you think that it's me. Yeah. But it's not me. I'm the vessel by which the gift flows, you know? And so the vision has always been to create an environment by which people feel loved upon by sharing music. You know, the manipulation of sound and audio, it's vibration, it's energy. And I think that's where I've always differed in comparison to some of my counterparts. I've always just been less interested in the bottle popping and the girls or the guys or the, you know, the sex of it all and, you know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Like, nah, man. Like, you know, if I'm doing drugs or something before my set, I am like, God and the universe can't flow through a congested vessel. I'm not able to fully emit the full energetic charge of this resonance if I'm lit, you know, if I'm drunk on tequila, and it's always the funniest thing when you're DJing, people want to get you drunk. Like, no, we need you to get drunk. Right. I'm fine, you know. I'm already on a high up here. You know, have a little something, but not. Right. It's like I always say, it's like the bus driver with a bus full of kids. If the bus driver is drunk, then everybody dies. Right. And then literally, and that's what a party is like when you go to, you know. But circling back, the vision has just always been able to use music as a means to connect people, as a means for people to feel more loved, and that's just where my focus is, you know. I aspire to do music festivals. Okay. That's where I would love to see my career go, because I've been blessed to do a lot of private events for a lot of notable celebrities and dignitaries and what have you, and those are great, and I think that just serves as the launching pad to just affect more people with music. Sure. So I saw you were on Master of the Mix. How does that change the game for you? How does that change the game? Man, I was such a novice DJ, or just so early in my career at that point. I just had a lot of energy and didn't know what to do with it. Yeah. I think when I auditioned for the show, I was like 2 years in. Okay. And I was definitely one of the most junior DJs on the show. Master of the Mix was, interesting enough, I think it was a great journey into how things can make or break you. And so often we have great opportunities and we think that they will make us. Sure. But that's not the case at all. It's not one thing, it's a succession of many things that create a career. So what was your mindset going into that show before it started? I made it. Or like, this is just such a great opportunity. I'm going to be on TV, and Kid Capri is there. He's hosting the show, and et cetera, et cetera. I just didn't know. I don't think I had a full clarity of what it required to just be present in my own skin, because there were just so many elements. The same people who are behind the scenes and interview people on Love and Hip Hop are the same people who are behind the scenes interviewing you on Master of the Mix. It's a VH1 show. Right. So the show, from a production standpoint, tries to pull those little elements out of you, tries to find when you're angry or when you say something in frustration. It's one of the most interesting things. But it's TV. It's TV. It's easy to forget that. Right? Yeah, it's reality TV. Yeah. But I'm overwhelmingly thankful for the opportunity, because that's when I really learned that it's not just one thing that makes you. Like I said, it's a succession of things. Was there a moment when that became clear for you during the show? Well, yeah. I mean, I think I got voted off like third or fourth of the show. And again, I have a lot of energy and personality when I DJ. I dance a lot, I move a lot. Yeah. You know, even as of late, I've incorporated dance routines, like leaving the DJ booth and actually dancing at some of my events. Yeah. But at the time, that wasn't received well at all, because it was like, this show is about turntablism and da-da-da. Nobody cared. What's his name? Kid was like, or I'm not sure. Yeah, Kid was like. Sounds like Clark Kent. Yeah. He's like, you don't know if you want to dance or DJ. He's like, you're like the Diddy of DJing. You know what I mean? How Diddy is like, one minute he's producing. Okay. And it took me years to realize, like, like you can do both. Like, you don't have to just be one thing. Yeah. And where it really kind of hit me is like going online and reading comments after the fact. They're like, this guy is trash. Like, how did he ever even get to this opportunity? Da 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 da. Yeah. But it's television, you know what I mean? Sure. And oftentimes people are just at home with those Twitter fingers. I say the best DJs, honestly, are bedroom DJs. They're amazing. They're so skilled, they have the awesome technique, but they don't have the confidence to put themselves out there. Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? Tons of lessons. I'm so thankful for that opportunity. It was kind of the start of a lot of great things.
So what happens when you're off then? Does the phone start ringing or like?
It kind of created a platform for people to become aware of me.
Yeah.
I think it resonated most with people who knew me from a previous corporate career.
Sure.
Like, oh snap, this dude's like serious, like so serious that he's booked a television show.
Right.
And that's kind of how it started. People calling me like, hey, got this corporate holiday party, or hey, my mom's turning 60. Can you come to Cleveland and DJ the party? And so what I would do, I would leverage those opportunities to DJ a corporate party, somebody's wedding, somebody's family's event, to call the local promoter and say, hey, I'm in town.
Right.
Can I come DJ at your nightclub this weekend? And so I began to DJ at more nightclubs and DJ different environments across the states by leveraging the fact that somebody else was already footing the bill and bringing me out.
For sure.
So that's kind of how I started to build.
Nice. You definitely have like your brand together.
Mm-hmm.
Between the logo and is it Hollywood Champion of New Sound?
Yes, we're actually slowly getting away from that, but yeah, that was the brand for a long time. And what it really just means is just unequivocally being unafraid to just play something that's different and that's unique. I see a lot of people who are traveling with their parties across the states at this point, especially those that kind of fit into the hip hop demographic. Mm-hmm. And I think it really started with Grits and Biscuits because they were serving a need of like this Southern historically Black college experience and this music that now we live in, our New York and LA and some of these other major cities, and we just want that again.
For sure.
And so from I kind of saw that as the first wave of traveling hip hop parties.
Okay.
And now I see so many that are traveling. And it's such an arduous task to get your party from your city to elsewhere. Yeah. But I asked myself, well, what's so different aside from the name of your party?
Right.
And that's it. Like, if I'm hearing the same soundtracks, Future, Drake, Wayne, Swag Surfing, please stop. Like, I don't want to hear Swag Surfing anymore, you know? What's different? And so Hollywood's Champion of New Sound was just all about embracing and putting out music or playing music during my sets that, like, damn, that's that Seaside track that I've loved from this album or that album that you would never think you would hear a DJ play, And so that's where that just all came about, just working to just be a champion of things that are different.
And so when that comes together, is it can you see a difference in how you're then received?
Absolutely. It's a combination of, playing unique sounds and as well as just a lot of energy behind the turntables.
Yeah.
I'm definitely received differently. And it took me actually a long time to realize that, because when I was unavailable for events, I would try to pass them on to, a friend or counterpart, and some clients would be like, no, we want you.
Right.
And I think because music wasn't necessarily, the career path of music wasn't valued in my household, it took me a long time to understand why I was special within this. Not special in terms of better than, but special in terms of a unique voice, the unique way I presented that was actually valued.
Okay. So when you say it wasn't valued, what was what was the response to your choice?
My mom is deceased. My mom passed through my senior year of high school.
Right.
And she was just really adamant about me just doing whatever I love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My pops, he's a military man. You know what I mean? We're from Baltimore. He's very hardcore. And he was like, can I cuss on here? Yeah. He was just like, what the fuck? Like, no, he was not, he wasn't supportive of it at all. You know what I mean? He didn't understand why I had gone along this path and was doing well for myself, that I would want to leave, this career trajectory to go into something that was completely abstract and unpredictable.
Sure.
And so it didn't fit into this linear path. So he just, just wasn't with it. But that's the kind of thing, the gift you have, again, is just meant to be shared, and everybody is not going to understand it. It's not for everyone to understand. Yeah. I think it's for us as individuals to understand and then just go along the path of actually admitting it.
So how do you reconcile that with your pops? You just like...
We had to peace out for a while, man. We just had to stop talking.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Simply because when you're working to birth something new, any energy that's contrary to that is not conducive to what you're working to birth. You know what I mean? So we just had to split ways. But the beautiful thing is that at a later point, when someone's able to see your vision, then they get it.
Sure.
A lot of times people are seeing is believing, and I tell it to anybody who's pursuing their passion. It doesn't have to be something in entertainment or the arts, but what's for you is for you, and it's not for you in terms of a selfish thing, but it's just your gift is meant to be birthed from you. Right. And as much as we may want the support of friends and family, those are going to oftentimes be the people who are your naysayers, because they love you so much that they oftentimes want to keep you in a box of safety. But when you operate from a strong place of faith, that's your safety.
It's funny because we think about that. We think I talk to people who their parents supported them all the way. Took them to their lessons or, bought them equipment or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's what I do for my son.
That's what's up. How old's your son?
He's 10.
Nice.
And so I've been trying to teach him to DJ. He's right now he's on guitar and drums.
Nice.
But we support all that. Mm-hmm. Other people, their parents, it's the exact opposite. Other people and I guess my point is there doesn't seem to be a formula.
No.
I don't think sometimes I don't think it necessarily matters. Mm-hmm. And as much as how you respond to whatever is coming.
And that's the power of free will we have. There is no particular formula. I used to begrudge myself for having not started DJing when I originally wanted to, 12, 13, asking dad hey, can we get some turntables? He took me to the pawn shops. We couldn't find any. He's like, I'm definitely not buying no new turntables because no son of mine is going to be a DJ anyway. Yeah. And that was it's like a crush.
Right.
And the kids remember those things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but I used to begrudgingly wish I would have started then. But the blessing is that I took all of those different career paths that then led me to this, and it completely changes the way in which I show up. So many of us are talented, but in this industry, it's not just talent. It's your work ethic. Yeah. It's your determination. It's your drive. It's your energy. Yeah. It's how you craft an email. It's how you dress.
Right.
All these things that are intangibles that we think is just about the craft. The craft is great, but it's the package and how you show up. Yeah. And just coming from that corporate background and kind of understanding how the corporate players play, I learned how to speak the language in a way that was able to market myself as a DJ. Yeah. That didn't allow me, the path of being a struggling artist was short.
Sure. So yeah, I obviously you have a great list of corporate clients. I've seen your website, all the big logos. What is it? Why? I think you're sort of touching on it, but why do they pick you?
Why they pick me? I think in corporate environments, a lot of it is it's a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of red tape. It's a lot of impressing the higher ups.
Right.
And so when you're working to climb the corporate ladder, you want to be associated with people who make you look good. Mm-hmm. And if I'm going to show up in a way that creates value and joy and fun in the environment, it helps make you look good, in addition to us all having a great time.
Sure.
I've literally had some folks who, before I can get the thank you message out to them, thank you, man, my boss had a great time.
Nice.
Okay, I wasn't doing it for your boss, but okay, if that's what works for you, you know what I mean?
For sure.
No problem.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's important, the people forget the customer service
big
side
time.
of things. Mm-hmm. Because we think we're the talent or whatever.
And I am talent, and but still I'm in a client-facing business. I have to serve the client first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a two-way street.
So you said you were moving away from the tagline and that. So how is the vision changing?
The vision is changing by just orchestrating experiences that really bring us together. I have what was an annual event, now it's kind of turned into, more than annual. Right. A big block party I do here in LA every year. Yeah. It's called B-Hen's Block Party. It started in 2014 as a birthday party. And interestingly enough, we did it behind my boy's building. And because he lives in a fourplex, and at the very edge of the block, there's this huge brick wall that separates us from the main street. And it serves as a space that encapsulated the sound. And we started because I wanted to do my party at a venue, and the venue said, you can play hip hop, but not like current hip hop. Like if it's only like 80s,
Right.
89 hip hop era, you can
Right.
play it, but none of that new stuff. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That didn't make any sense, you know?
Can't believe people are still saying that.
No, which is crazy, you know. But I said, man, F this. I'm, you know, you can't curtail the creativity. We want to be able to express ourselves.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of took it back in the days. I was heavily influenced by the fact that I'm originally from Baltimore, and that's what we would do during the summertime. It would be block parties. You shut down a block, DJs would be out there. Then also I saw Diplo. He was kind of facing some of the challenges I saw myself facing, like within that, with DJing for the corporate clients. Is, you know, although it's the compensation was good, you have to fit it into the box of what resonates with that respective brand. Yeah. And so Diplo kind of got tired of that, and he was like, he just started doing these block parties. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it for my birthday. And 250 people showed up. You know, we had artwork on the wall and bar and everything. It's like, all right, cool. That has grown into a massive production at this point. You know, my guy Davon over there, he's the creative mastermind behind some of our stage and lighting and the whole concept and visuals of the experience now. Yeah. And why I realize it's successful, because we're Coachella heads. We go to Coachella every year.
Same here.
You know, big group of us, and there's a bunch of black guys, and all the time people are like, man, I've never seen black guys rave like this. And it's like, it's not about your race, it's about your energy. Of course. You know, and that's what I love about music festival environments. It's the only space that if you were walking down the street, you may otherwise not speak to someone, but you look to your left, you look to your right, there's an Asian girl here, there's a Native American guy over there, white people, black people, the whole, everybody from every walk of life. Yeah. And it really shows me that music is the strongest form of love in terms of, it just eliminates any barrier to connecting. And I look to be in and create environments that reflect that. And so that's what the block party is. It's like 1,000 people showing up in DTLA, and we're just having an amazing time.
That's great. It's funny, so I go to Coachella every year, and I have a lot of favorite moments, but I was in the front row for Ice Cube, and I guess that was 3 years ago, and you know, I used to manage Dub C, who's now his hype man.
Word.
And so, you know,
West Side Connection.
So I was excited, and I looked to my left, and there's a dude, you know, bald head, face tattoos, just, you know, just throwing up whatever while he's dancing. And then to my right was like an old grandma, just dancing. She had stumbled over from the rave tent, you know what I mean, and whatever. And I was like, yeah, this is, you know, like, nobody cares who anybody is. They're just living it.
Yeah, because you're surprised as to who likes what. Like, me and my guys are losing it at the Tame Impala show, and people like, they're just they're not expecting to see us. You know what I mean? But music is universal. Yeah. It's that universal love. Yeah. So so that's what's next for me, man. Just transition to more spaces that feel like that.
So where are you trying to take the block party? What's that vision look like?
You know, we've been doing it now for what, 5-6 years here in LA. I have some folks who encourage me to travel with it, but so much of it for me is about maintaining the integrity of it. Yeah. I love having people come to LA to travel to experience it here, because there's this big misconception, everybody's Hollywood and pretentious, and that, you know, people don't talk to each other. But every time we host the event, I have people walking away saying, man, that was just so amazing. There was just the energy, and I'm like, you guys do know we hosted this in a parking lot, right? But why I realize that people feel the energy, because our intention is to connect you. We eliminate all the barriers that prevent people from connecting. There's no VIP, there's no bottle service. You might be on a guest list, but you're still waiting your ass in line. Like, everyone is treated as an equal. You know, celebrities who show up are partying right next to people who just bought a ticket. It doesn't really matter who you are, except just someone who wants to come and have a good time. And so, you know, we definitely will continue to expand it here in LA, but you know, we'll see about taking it to other markets, because as I discussed earlier, it's not good enough to just have your event travel to another city. It has to be something that's bringing a unique experience to the city.
Yeah. I mean, I think LA is known for that, those barriers. And I think whenever you find those parties that don't have those, it's like all the more special.
Yeah, big time. And we put a lot of work into the production. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we had a fire truck as a stage
Oh, cool.
for this most recent one we had.
Wow.
And, you know, Davon Johnson, he mastermind behind that. We had that concept like 2 years ago, but it took us that long, or took just the right timing for it to come to fruition.
Yeah.
And literally, that was one of the most exhilarating experiences, to DJ atop a fire truck.
I'm sure.
When my set started, the fire truck engine started up, and the
Oh, wow.
lights are blaring and everything
cool.
else. It's just like adding those unique elements like that to any type of event creates its value.
For sure.
You know?
That's dope. So then I know you also have Beats to Beat Breast Cancer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I lost my mom, Tracy, my senior year of high school. You know, I was only 17, to a 14-month battle with breast cancer. You know, it was metastatic cancer, so it spread to her liver, lungs, lymph nodes. Even though she had a mastectomy, it just spread so rapidly. And, you know, in addition to, it was crazy at the time my mom was getting chemotherapy, my godmother, Linda, said, oh, let me go get a mammogram. She realized she was stage 1. So we were both going to like chemo treatments at the same time with each other. And my godmother, Linda, always thanked my mom for having saved her life. But what I didn't realize is that after she, you know, was cancer-free, she never went back to the hospital ever again. She just had such a poor experience and traumatic experience with breast cancer. She never went back for a checkup. So 14 years later, cancer came back with a vengeance, metastatic as well, and also spread everywhere. And we also lost my godmother, Linda. So here it is, the two women who are my moms are both, you know, that's the whole point of having a godmother, that Lord forbid something happens to your biological mom, your godmom is there. So for them to be best friends and then both die of the same disease, you know, my mom always encouraged me to be a leader. And so it's not enough for me to have this platform and not do something that makes a difference within this cause. You know, African American women die at a disproportionately higher rate to breast cancer in comparison to other cultures, largely due to late detection. There's socioeconomic barriers. There's a history within our nation of Black people being used as guinea pigs. It's been so long, but a lot of Black women don't feel like they can be self-advocates because they're not heard. And so Beats to Beat Breast Cancer was born out of that. You know, we leveraged the tool of music to bring communities together, just like we're talking about with Coachella. We bring the medical research community together with the African American community who needs to know this information the most, and it serves as a platform by which it's a day of celebration of life. We're honoring breast cancer survivors. We do full makeovers, you know, I mean, like hair, makeup, nails, wardrobe. We provide awards to survivors in the community who are using their story to become activists to ensure that other women don't die from this disease. And we're really using, like I said, that tool, music as a tool to bridge these communities. And so we've been doing this now for the last 6 years.
Nice.
And I'm super thankful for the opportunity to really just make a difference in this cause.
So with something like that that's kind of purpose driven, does it change your approach compared to the other things you do that are quote unquote business? Or is it?
When you say approach, what aspect?
I don't know.
Well, I think,
I guess does it mean something different to you?
Oh, absolutely. You know, at first, you know, it was a tool for me to heal. You know, as much as someone who can emit great light, that person can also harbor a lot of darkness. And I harbored a lot of darkness surrounding my ability to let love in, based on my mom being my best friend and losing her at such an early age. I didn't know how to properly, you know, I let people love me, but like, don't get too close. Of course. Because I could lose you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
that's understandable.
Yeah, I didn't understand. It was just emotional trauma, it was an emotional fault line within within how I showed up that I wasn't even as clear of. And so the first few years, it was really a tool to help heal. And I've thankfully healed by a number of ways, including therapy, which changes lives. Of course. But it's the same approach in comparison to everything else I do. It's about literally using the gift to make a difference in someone else's life. And we raise funds that is dedicated to cancer research. We help fund students who are going to these medical programs who have a particular focus in eradicating this disease within African American community. We raise funds for those doctors to go to school, for them to become doctors, medical researchers, to then give back to the communities who are most in need. You know, so I think the approach is all the same.
Yeah.
You know.
How do you, you seem very busy. How do you decide what to say no to?
Woo, that's probably about the first question I'm not gonna have an answer to. I struggle with that, big time. I have worn myself out big time in not knowing how to say no, because I always want others to feel happy based on the music. Sure. And that there's been moments where I've been on 3 continents within 3 days, showing up for people, showing up for friends. I did that in October, this most recent October. Wow. What I told myself and committed myself to in 2020 is just 2020 clear vision, is to really assess it. Is it necessary for me to be there? Or is it a want for me to be there? Or just like there has to be a different criteria by which we decide as a team what I'm present to versus what I'm not. And I think for a long time I just felt as if like it'd be a diss to someone if I said no. But no is more so like a yes to me.
Okay.
Rest is essential. I gotta get that rest. And I have some people in my Insta story telling me like, man, I just get exhausted looking at you go, you know. And so I'm taking that like, when I don't take my rest, I'm not good for anybody. So I'm learning to.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the most successful people know how to say no. And the more successful you get, the more you have to say no. And I think that's, I talk to a lot of people that struggle with that. Like it's a process to learn that, because you want to be there for people, otherwise you wouldn't be doing it.
Facts.
And I get it.
Yeah, I'm still learning. Trust me, I'm still learning.
So you mentioned the team. What makes the right team for you, and what do you look for from your team? Integrity.
I just can't stress it enough. And integrity for me is just mean it's a alignment between your thoughts, your words, and your deeds. If I think it, I'm gonna say it. If I say it, I'm gonna do it. We're all human, we fall short of that sometimes, but if there's a break in one of those things, I then update it. I make a new relationship to word, a new relationship to my communication with you. A pet peeve of mine, and why I often find it difficult to work with other creatives, is because you say you're gonna do it, but you don't do it.
Right.
You said that you're gonna get the venue, you didn't get the venue.
Sure.
I got an event this Friday. One of my counterparts, they'll hear it. You said you're gonna get the flyer 2 weeks ago or a week ago. Like, why don't we have a flyer? These things aren't that difficult, just to promo a party.
Yeah.
And so the team that I've been blessed to be with, we are family, and we can have the most difficult conversations with each other. We can check each other in love. You know, we can get frustrated with each other, but be able to have a conversation and be honest about it. You know what I mean? Because we know at the end of the day, we all are working to be our best.
Yeah.
And no one in the team is serving anyone else. Our respective gifts serve the greater pool of what we're all capable of doing. And when we kind of combine those respective talents, it's like Captain Planet. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's funny you say that, you know, obviously coming from a corporate background, right? Like, you know, I've encountered a lot of creative people who, you know, they assume that the world will wait for them, right? And that creativity on their own timetable is going to be okay. And I think, you know, that's what my experience working with, you know, corporate clients has taught me is it's the opposite, right? It's the deadline's the deadline. And you know, if you do the best work you've ever done the day after the Super Bowl, then it doesn't do anybody any good.
That part.
You got to show up for the game day.
And I think sometimes creators, we can get so in our heart about what we're creating.
Sure.
But that's the beautiful thing about creativity. It runs in abundance.
Yeah.
Sure, you may listen to a project, or I listened to a mixtape from a few years ago. I'm like, ugh, why that transition like that? But that's the beautiful thing about it. You can continue to create.
Yeah.
One artist who I love, who's just clearly on that wave right now, Gold Link, out of DC area. man, it feels like he has an album and an album and an album, and he just keeps better and better. His latest album, Diaspora, oh my God, like it literally, he takes, you know, different musical elements across from the whole diaspora, and like, I just see this man continue to get better, and I can only imagine like if he held off on putting out a new project because he's waiting for one thing or another, then he's just kind of shortchanging everyone in the process.
Right.
It's like the detox waiting on it.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a technical question. You cross genres. You're obviously listening to music from, different places around the world. With all that music, how do you decide on a song?
It's a combination between how I feel, where we want to take the crowd, and just the timing. One thing I'm complimenting all the time is timing. Thanks, Scratch Academy. But it's really...
Wait, tell me about that. What'd you learn? How do you learn timing at Scratch Academy?
Oh, largely because, you just understand at what point of a song to transition and what makes most sense. It's nothing worse than you're at a song, when you're at a club and you're ready to sing your favorite part of the song and the DJ cuts it off. Right. Oh my God.
Quick mix.
No disrespect to my New York DJs, but
right.
You can, even quick mixes is fine, but
sure.
You don't have to quick mix all night.
Right.
You do too much quick mixing, and it feels like I'm on a hamster on a wheel.
Yeah.
It's just called ebb and flow. At certain points in the night, you need to quick mix just to get the energy up. Yep. Other points in the night, you need to play a vibe at the beginning, or other moments you need, like house music or music that have Afro beats. You need to let those things extend and play a little longer. So it's no formula. You just got to feel it. You got to feel it. I think you got to come in having a particular game plan in mind and know that there's going to be about 10 to 12 audibles throughout the night that you just got to quickly adjust to.
Nice. So going into next year, what are you most excited about?
Being in LA more frequently.
Okay.
Both of my brothers live in Los Angeles now.
Yeah.
We're all in entertainment,
which
which is really interesting.
Nice.
My middle brother my brother Ryan is a media planner.
Oh, cool.
And my youngest brother is a screenwriter, Kamani. Spending more time with family. Yeah. Dating, what I mean? Something that I put on the back burner for a while.
Yeah.
And creating music production, something I also, had kind of shied away from, simply because I was making excuses. I'm always on the road, but I'm just so excited to create a sound that resonates most with me. I love elements from New Jack Swing, anything produced by Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, Teddy Riley. I love K-Tronada. I love, percussion. I love so many elements of just so many different things. I love Baltimore club music, I'm just interested to see.
We had Rel on the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love that. Some of the music coming out of Baltimore is amazing.
Yeah, and people tend to think it died away with K Swift, late great K Swift, Club Queen. But it isn't. It's still there. I think Jersey adopted a bit of it, But nonetheless, I'm just really interested to see finally me sitting down and putting time and attention into production, what the unique sound will be and how that takes things to the next level.
You talked about meditation. What are your routines, your habits that are sort of most valuable?
Without a doubt, meditation. I've had people stop me at events and say, "You meditate, don't you?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, you just came with a different calm. I strongly believe in the law of attraction. I listen to a lot of Abraham and Esther Hicks. I meditate, on my best days, day and night, but at bare minimum, 15 minutes in the morning. I do my best to not sleep with my phone. I am not perfect. We live in that era. But even today is a good example. I just kind of picked up my phone, quick glance, 16 messages when I woke up.
Sure.
I didn't get to my DMs until, much later, 38 DMs. Right. I was like, what? But when we start our day in response mode, the rest of the day is like that. You feel like you're always trying to catch up. But the beautiful thing of meditation is that you get to clear not only your mind but your spirit and your space, and you get to set the intention for the day. And it's I think oftentimes we don't lean into it because we think we need to be completely silent, or you want our minds to be completely shut off. The more you focus on your mind being silent, the more it's gonna run.
Yeah, of course.
But the goal is just for you to go into that space and allow you to connect with the universe, like I said, so you can set the intention for the day. And not focus on your mind's gonna ramble, but the more you do it, you'll see your mind just begin to get calm. And it allows me to approach the day from a different place of peace and positivity that otherwise would escape me, because I'll be just responding to your reaction.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cool. I have a little lightning round before I let you go. What's your favorite city to travel to?
Ooh, Berlin.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite DJ?
Ooh, man, I can't answer that. There's so many. How about I give you a few?
Okay.
Jazzy Jeff,
Yeah.
Diplo, K Tronada, D Nice. Those are just a few. There's others, but those are a few.
They're all great. What's the last great book you read?
The last great book I read. Whew. I don't know if it was the last one, but I can say one that really kind of changed the game for me. Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. It's really the study of how we can reshift and reprogram ourselves. It really talks about how we only do that which is in alignment with our self-esteem.
Okay.
And so it's amazing.
Nice.
I can go on about it, but
I'm gonna check it out.
look it up.
Yeah, I will. What movie have you seen the most in your life?
Whew. Probably somewhere between What's Love Got to Do with It and Color Purple.
Okay.
But the movie I'm most excited about right now is Queen and Slim
Oh yeah.
by Melina and Lena Waithe. When I tell you this is a game changer, this film is epic.
Nice.
I was blessed to go to a screening of it. It comes out very soon.
Cool.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
It's going to sweep every award. It is the modern day Bonnie and Clyde. It talks about a lot of the civil unrest in the U.S. right now. It's epic. It will forever be etched in American culture, this film.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. The movie I'm most excited about is Coming to America too.
Come to America. Man, I'm tired of these reboots because
yeah, me too, but I don't care. I mean,
you know,
I'm just down to see Eddie.
I definitely want to see it, but it's just the original is so classic.
For sure.
It's so classic, so I hope they get it right.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I have faith in Eddie.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
What style of yours are you glad is behind you and not on social media?
Oh man, I used to have this stripe of blonde in my hair.
Yeah,
It was like a hot top
remember
fade.
yeah.
At first it went from gold, then it was silver. I was like, who let me out in these streets like that? I'm so thankful that's behind me.
That's hilarious. If I worked for you, what's something I would hear you say over and over?
Shit. Or thank you. You hear me say shit and thank you all the time. Shit, just like, whoo, there's a lot going on, and thank you that this is a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good. They're both useful.
big time.
Absolutely. That was an amazing interview, man. Thank you for doing this.
I appreciate you, Jay. Thanks for
Appreciate
having
you.
me.
Come back anytime. We'll definitely be watching to see what's next.
I appreciate it. I've definitely smiled a lot more than I expected today, so I
Nice.
appreciate you having me, man. Hope
Beautiful.
everyone listening gets a jewel or two.
I'm sure they will.
That's what's up.
How should everybody follow you online?
On social, all my socials are at DJ BHen, B-Hen.
Cool.
Always Brian Henry for short. DJ B-Hen, all
Nice.
social.
Beautiful.
Yo, that was B-Hen on Rebel Radio. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. Make sure you hit us with a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever they're calling it now. Leave us some comments. You can always reach out on Twitter and on Facebook, wherever you like. It's at Rebel Radio Net. Make sure you go to our YouTube page at Rebel Radio Net. We're uploading videos from a lot of our episodes. And most importantly, come back next week for more Rebel Radio. Peace.